Welcome to Prosecco on the Bathroom Floor. We're Chelsea and Kat, two women who also happen to be business owners and moms. If you've ever had a moment where it feels like one big chaotic mess, you're in the right place. This is a party where we spill the tea, own the chaos, and remind you to never apologize for taking up space, one glass of bubbly at a time. So grab your Prosecco or whatever's in your cup, and let's get into it.
Okay. Cheers.
Cheers. Delicious.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite.
Okay. Speaking of, I do not know how people do dry January or why. How or why.
Especially when it's January and I hate January.
Especially January. It is cold,
Cloudy, rainy.
wet,
Mm-hmm.
gross,
Yes.
cold,
We're stuck inside with kids.
and cold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Why would you do that to yourself?
Not my favorite. And also, yeah, so like with all the weather delays and stuff, they're canceling school, which I don't have young kids anymore, but you do.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're at home all the time. Here's the thing with that. Like, yes, if you use alcohol as a coping mechanism all the time, not great.
Absolutely.
Not healthy, right? Everything in moderation.
Absolutely.
But when it comes down to it, like it's the little things that give you joy in life. And if alcohol in moderation is a little treat for yourself, why are you depriving yourself?
Right. I think one of the things I've always done is ask myself, why am I drinking this? And if I'm using it as a coping mechanism, then I stop myself. That could be with anything, Chelsea. That could be with food too. Why am I eating this? Why am I eating this bag of chips? If the answer is, okay, I'm trying to cope with some stress in my life, then I need to find a better coping mechanism.
When you sit down and you binge watch 3 hours of Real Housewives, why are you sitting down and binge watching 3 hours of Housewives?
What do you really need to address in your life?
Now, if it is a matter of, you know what, I never sit down, I never watch TV, I'm always working, I don't have the kids today, I'm going to take some time for myself, and I'm intentionally going to sit down and watch 3 hours of Housewives.
Absolutely.
That it's the same action. What is the ultimate truth? So there can be things that are facts, but intention is what makes it matter one way or the other. So the fact is you're sitting down and eating potato chips. The fact is you're watching 3 hours of Housewives, or the fact is you're pouring yourself a glass of Prosecco at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Those are just facts. Those are things that are happening.
Right.
What matters is the intention behind why those things are happening.
I love that. Absolutely.
So am I choosing to give myself a little treat? Am I choosing to take time to myself to relax and veg out? Or am I either consciously or unconsciously choosing to escape from my reality?
Yes.
Choosing to disconnect from my purpose, choosing to not deal with something in my life.
Yes. Things that you're choosing so you don't have to deal with those things. That's a crutch. It's not actually going to solve the problem. This is what I talk about with my clients a lot. They'll say, well, Kat, you know, I wound up and I binged this day. And I say, well, did you stop and think why you were doing it? Well, no. Okay, the next time that happens, before you nosedive into a bag of chips or gallon of ice cream, I want you to take out your journal. Write down, what am I feeling right now? What happened today that makes me feel like I do now? Whether it's stressed, angry, hurt, tired, frustrated, emotional. Write those things down. So before you dive into that, figure out what the deal is, why you're doing that. And like you said, be intentional about dealing with the things in your life that you need to deal with. Because diving into the bottle of alcohol, the chips, constantly emotional eating, that is not going to solve your problems. In fact, it's going to make it worse because it's going to compound that guilt on top of what you're already feeling.
And that's the thing. I think the reason you feel guilt surrounding those things is because you know, it's not that you're not supposed to be doing it, but you know that there's something that you're not dealing with.
Yes.
So
yes.
If you intend to drink a glass of Prosecco at 3 o'clock in the afternoon because you said, I deserve this, there's nothing I'm trying to escape, there's nothing I'm trying to avoid dealing with, I simply want a little treat for myself, then you don't feel guilt after that glass of Prosecco.
Right.
You feel guilt after the glass of Prosecco because that was a stand-in for something you should have been addressing.
Right.
Within yourself.
Right.
You said this before in several of our videos we've done, and it sticks with me. It's the choices you aren't making are a choice.
Whether you know it or not, or realize it or not. Absolutely.
So like when you're not taking an active role and making a choice, you're still making a choice. Or like within manifesting, you are always manifesting good or bad in your life, whether you're intending to or not. So the shift is to make it intentional.
Yes.
The shift is to think about why, your reason, deal with it, and make it intentional.
And the reason so many of us aren't intentional about these things is because it's work. It's hard work to retrain your mind to set your focus on things that are good, that matter, that will improve your life. Why do we naturally just gravitate towards the negative things? I mean, I've caught myself lately just calling my mom just to complain about something that happened. I'm like, why am I even focusing on that? But it's harder to shift your mindset and focus on the good and retrain your mind than it is to just focus on the negative. So that's why so many of us don't do that. What you're talking about is because it's just easier not to.
And here's the thing, it is on the forefront. And when you look at it briefly, easier.
Right.
Easier to not dive in.
Yes.
Oh, I don't want to get out my journal. I don't want to feel big feelings. I don't want to feel vulnerable. But when you look at the price you pay down the line, when you keep going and you keep going and you keep pushing it further away, I mean, maybe that's why a lot of people feel like they need dry January, because they know they can't keep going on like this. And they're feeling guilt over all the emotions that they've been avoiding and substituting alcohol with. And so doing a dry January makes you feel like you're in control. But here's the problem with that. You do a dry January, but you still didn't address why you were drinking in the first place.
You just didn't drink.
You literally just didn't drink. You still didn't. Your body went a month without any alcohol in it, which is probably a great reset for your body, but your mind is still where it was when you started, unless that dry January is accompanied by, I'm going dry intentionally so that in the times when I would have a glass or two, I am going to do intentional work on myself internally so I no longer need the glass and I can choose the glass.
Yes. The other thing about it is you're continuing to train your mind that it's bad. We talk a lot about good and bad food dichotomy. This is good, this is bad, this is good, this is bad. That leads to a horrible relationship with food. I've been there. That leads to the guilt cycle, you know? So you're continuing to train yourself that, oh, December, I had, what do we say, too much fun, you know? I had too much fun and I was a bad girl.
And that's the thing, is like too much fun. Okay, with the caveat, I will just say this so that no one comes at us in the comments, right? As long as you are not hurting anyone, as long as you are emotionally not being toxic towards anyone, you're not harming any individual, then there is no such thing as too much fun. Because did you have fun? If you literally did have fun, that is great for your mental health. Now, of course, again, be conscious and intentional. If after a night out of drinking, you go, oh, I had too much fun. Why? Why do you think that? Are you experiencing guilt over it? Why? Are you experiencing guilt because society says you're not allowed to go out and drink? Are you experiencing guilt because you went out drinking instead of doing the inner work that you're avoiding?
Right. I think the other thing with moms, we feel like we can't have any fun. We feel guilty for having fun away from our children.
But that's all societal.
It absolutely is.
It's all societal. It starts in, sorry guys, religion really teaches this, not in so many words. For the most part, you're not going to walk into a church and hear a sermon that says, moms aren't allowed to have fun, right? It's more of this unspoken, moms are expected to be there for their children
at all times.
And moms are expected to give their lives of service. And here's the thing, guys, we as moms can't be of service if we are unhappy.
Absolutely.
It is the worst thing for our children. I can't think of a lot of things worse other than like direct abuse, right? That are worse for our children to see than us living unhappy existences, because to them that becomes their normal, and then they expect that that's all that they can look forward to in their lives.
Right.
And we taught them that.
Exactly.
And it's really sad because our intention is for them to have better lives than we even have. Our intention is to teach them that they are worthy and they are good and they are worth all these good things. But we unintentionally, because we're not thinking about it, we're not examining how we're feeling and what we're putting out.
Yeah, because how do we teach them that if we don't even feel that about ourselves?
I mean, you can know it all you want in your conscious mind that, yes, my kids are worthy, they're special, they're beautiful, they can do anything in this world. But subconsciously, inside, we're going, well, I'm not worth that. I'm not special enough for that. If you only exist for your kids, then your kids are going to think, well, pretty much that's a lot of pressure for them. They're going to see that you only exist for them, and then they can never live up to that expectation.
The example that you're setting for them, that the world revolves around them, it doesn't. That's what I always think about. And I mean, I've looked at my children and said, Jericho, the world does not revolve around you. I am helping your sister right now and loving you in a different way by cooking you dinner. I might not be holding you, but I'm cooking you dinner. You know, teaching your kids that the world doesn't revolve around them, teaching your kids that you can be a mom, but also have a career. Mm-hmm. You can also have things that you enjoy. I mean, I would go crazy if all I ever did, and I love my kids, mm-hmm. but if all I ever did was take care of them and that was it. Mm-hmm. That's not me. Okay. I'm Catherine, a mom, but I'm also Catherine, Coach Cat. Mm-hmm. I'm Catherine,
business owner.
I'm, I have all these hats and I want to make sure that I nurture every part of who I am.
Mm-hmm. I caught you saying something. Why did you feel when you said, so you started saying, if all I had was my children to take care of, I would be bored out of my mind, or I'd be like so miserable, right? You stopped yourself as if you needed to assure everyone that you love your kids for saying that.
Put me on the spot.
We as moms don't feel like we can just say our truths. We have to make sure everyone knows we're good moms. When honestly, like, we are all good moms. If you are present with your kids and you love them, you're a good mom. You don't need to assure anyone that you love them in order to be able to say, if all I had was my kids, I'd be miserable.
Right.
We don't have to say, I love my kids. You need to know that. Duh, you love your kids. They're your kids. Right. And you're mom.
You're right.
So why are we always explaining to everyone, to other moms? We do it to other moms.
We always feel like we have to defend ourselves.
But like, they're moms too. They freaking know the same thing we know.
Right. Why did I say that?
They're living the same lives.
Yeah.
They also would be miserable if they had no life of their own. Mm-hmm. And honestly, you have clients who have been miserable because they weren't living lives of their own.
Right.
That's why you said this work is hard, right? Because it's little things like that that you don't even realize you're limiting yourself. You say it just because it's habit, because you feel like you need to explain yourself. But if we're working on the inner work, then that's something that you can take home and journal about and go, why do I feel the need to explain myself to people who have nothing to do with me and my family? Why do I feel the need to let people know I love my kids? Clearly I love my kids and they know I love them. Why do I need to explain to anyone else?
Thanks for tuning in to Prosecco on the bathroom floor. But don't stop here. This is just one glass in the bottle. Each episode builds on the last, so keep listening to follow the full conversation. If our chat today hit the spot for you, share it with a friend and catch us on all platforms at Cat Arise Fitness and at Chelsea Patricia. Until next time, remember, own your chaos, take up space, and never apologize for being you.